Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a Friday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's a Veterans Day edition. Happy Veterans Day out there. We're going to have JC in just a minute. We're also going to have Alyssa Lang from the SEC Network. She's a South Carolina grad. She'll be on the sidelines of the program this week of the show, not the show or the program. I'm all confused. The game. She's a sideline reporter. So there we have JC. It's Veterans Day, and I've never understood why there's only like one day for Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Don't you think they should get multiple days throughout the year?
Yeah, at least a week. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Good point. I didn't think
I've never understood that.
Well, and Christmas should be about 5 days too.
Well, it is. People celebrate Christmas for
that's true.
Like weeks.
The whole season. Yeah, it's a season. Good point. Yeah, I think you ought to start a movement. Get something.
Start a movement, a campaign that Veterans Day should be like. They should get one day every quarter, at least 4 days a year.
4 days a year. I agree. Good observation there, QB. I like that.
All right. Well, that's my 2 cents. But happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. My phone is blowing up. If you missed it and you're a Gator fan and you sleep under a rock and don't get on social media at all, Jaden Rashada is now committed to the Gators, flipped from the Miami Hurricanes. Not surprised, but what just blows my mind, and it's just people being morons. I like to use the word moron because when people think they know something more than somebody who's a professional at what they do, I think they're kind of a moron. Let Billy Napier and his staff of all those people do their job. That's all I'm asking for the Gator Nation. People freak out when this kid goes there, this kid goes here. You can only sign so many. You can't have everybody in America. But think about this. The best players on this Florida football team are players that Billy Napier brought in via the transfer portal or signed as a freshman. He knows talent, so give him time to build the program. Andy wants to know how much money will he get. I don't know the answer to that. I tell you what it does tell you, though. I firmly believe it shows you that Anthony Richardson will not be the quarterback here next year.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're right about that. You've been saying it all year, so I don't know why you would change just because of what Jaden Rashada decides to do. I mean, what is the reason Jaden Rashada decided to change his mind? I think it has a lot to do with what he's seen the last 4 weeks down at the University of Miami. Yeah. He's decided that, there's a program that's trending this way and a program that's just kind of going this way. And maybe that's what he's thinking. And maybe he thinks Anthony's on his way out. So, maybe he feels like I'm going to jump right in there and play immediately. I mean, who knows? I'm sure that's part of it.
Matt asked here on Facebook Live, great. Is he any good? Who knows? Who knows? If he can't throw completions for us, it doesn't do us a damn bit of good how much money we're going to pay him. But he's a highly regarded kid, and kids change their mind all the time. Hopefully he won't change his mind. Think about it. He hasn't signed yet. So he could still change his mind and go somewhere. He could go to USC for all we know.
Sure. He's a California kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I know the Gator Nation is very happy. Good thing for that. Nat said that's why they don't pay attention until signing day. I agree.
Right.
I do think, speaking of signing day, I think the Gators will be hot and heavy in the transfer portal. I think they could bring in 12 to 15 new players personally. Yeah. Now, only if they feel like they can help the program. They're not just going to sign guys just to sign them.
Yeah.
Let me see what this says right here. We jump into our discussion, JC. Joseph says, don't be surprised if Cormati flips too. That's the number one DB in America that signed with or committed to Miami. those boys, let's see, Florida told both of those boys to give them time on NIL, but Miami was ready now, so they're playing the system. Lots of kids will do that going forward. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Again, nobody's getting any money until they're on campus and playing football and going to class.
Yeah.
So we could tell player X, we're going to give you $10 million. He'd be like, "Oh, that sounds great. I'm coming." He gets here, we don't have to honor him. I mean, the whole thing's a mess. Don't even get me started on that again.
It's a lawless world run by attorneys and lawyers, and I get it. Yeah, the lawyer down in Miami obviously didn't woo old Jaden when he got down there to visit much, because he's the one that's writing these checks. We are supposedly writing these checks, so we'll see.
Well, and the fans are all over the Ruiz guy down in Miami. I don't know what he does.
He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer.
I didn't know he was a lawyer. I thought he did something else. I thought he had a couple businesses.
Attorney at large.
Well, anyway, look, Miami. If Miami was winning or just playing decent football, I don't think this happens. But you're right, and I don't think kids usually change their mind because of how a team is playing. But there are serious issues, in my opinion, at Miami. They have no home field advantage. Nobody goes to their games. They've been irrelevant for so long. And I don't know Mario Cristobal at all, but he really hasn't won ever as a head coach anywhere he's been.
I mean, the most wins he's seen is as an Alabama assistant. Now, I think they did go to the Rose Bowl with him, but they had a guy named Justin Herbert. That had a lot to do with it. So, yeah.
All right, so that's happening in Gator news. Gator basketball plays tonight, and Tim Walton had a tremendous signing class as well. That was posted the other day. White Chocolate's daughter leads the pack. You know who White Chocolate is, JC?
Basketball player.
Jason Williams. His daughter is an infielder, highly regarded, so she's going to be a Gator. But I don't know how I got on softball and baseball, but they're both in the top 5. So whatever NerdWallet app is what this dude owns. Ruiz. Okay. You know what that is? I don't even know what it is.
No, don't pay attention. But I will tell you this, QB. This game is interesting to me Saturday because obviously it's senior day, and we get to see Trey Dean, Ventrell Miller, Amari Burney, and guys like that run out on the field and hug the coach and see with his parents and get their pictures framed and so forth. And that's a big deal, or their jerseys framed, I guess. And that's a wonderful day. I mean, senior day is a great day, and this is a particular. Sad. Well, but I mean, it's a great day. It shows accomplishment. It shows emotion. It's a day where you say goodbye to a person that's been given everything he's gotten to your school and to your team. And we don't see a lot of seniors. A lot of kids leave before they're seniors. So I have a special place in my heart for guys that play through their eligibility as seniors. So it's kind of cool. I mean, I like that. What?
I love senior day, but it's sad. I ain't gonna lie, because that's the last time they're gonna put that uniform on at home.
Yeah.
Greg, I think Greg's making fun of me here. He goes, Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, NerdWallet is an app to help morons pay bills.
There you go, moron. So
does he help you pay like you can't pay it all? Ruse pays the rest for you? Maybe we should download that app and sit there and pay our bills, JC.
Just invent an app and you are set, baby. Especially if the kids jump all over in the app store. But hey, this game with South Carolina, man, listen, I don't know if anybody remembers what they did to Florida last year, but I think it was 40-17. And they
mauled us.
And they outrushed Florida by 202 yards. Think about that just for about a half a second. So there's a little payback I think this team should have in its minds right now on senior day. Final home game. Played a lot of home games. Final home game against a team that really put it on you last year. And this is a game where if Florida doesn't play, I think they will really play as hard as they can. They'll really show up. And listen, that A&M game, it's a good game coming up to kind of keep the momentum going a little bit here as we end the season and get to 8 wins potentially.
This is one game where I sit here and I'll tell you we should win this game easily. It's the first time I've said it all year. I've watched South Carolina play. they can cause some issues. They've scored a bunch of touchdowns off of special teams this year. They've blocked a bunch of punts, the old beamer ball nonsense.
Yeah.
But other than that, they are not a very good football team.
Well,
6-3 is misleading. It's very misleading, their record. So we will see. Dan says NIL is a money laundering app.
Oh. Ooh. Well, like I said, it's a lawless world when it comes to NIL. We'll have to figure out how to fix that at some point.
So, JC, before we get into our picks and stuff and get to Alyssa Lang, I tweeted on our little group text with multiple buddies of ours last night. I'm going for college basketball, and I'm picking the Creighton Blue Jays to win the national title. How about that pick?
It's a good pick. I did a little reading up on him. McDermott, right? That's his name, McDermott.
The coach, McDermott.
Yeah. I really have a lot of respect for him as a head coach in a small little tiny school in Omaha, Nebraska. And, it's the thing about basketball, right? The little tiny schools can really make a big splash. So let's see what happens.
They're loaded. They're loaded.
But Gonzaga has good players too, and so does Carolina.
I like the way he coaches. I like the way his kids. Hey, 2022, I picked the Creighton Blue Jays to cut down the nets wherever the Final Four is.
Okay.
And I think the Gator basketball team is going to surprise a lot of people as well. And of course, you responded that you think Carolina. Okay, JC, they're the odds-on favorite to win it. Way to go, good pick.
Well, listen, it's so early in November. I got no idea, but I did read about. I did read about Creighton.
You didn't read about it until I told you. They're good.
Here's the thing: November and March are so diametrically different in terms of where we get in basketball. It's almost like for 3 months, it's just a bunch of scrimmage games until we get to the tournament, and it could all end in one day. Ask Kentucky, ask St. Peter's, ask teams that we're not even talking about some teams today that are going to get to the Sweet 16 or thinking about them for that matter. So
yeah, well, for Veterans Day out in San Diego, they're going to try to play on those battleships again. A basketball game today. I think Gonzaga and Michigan State play.
Isn't it an aircraft carrier? Isn't it an aircraft?
Remember when the Gators played over here in was it in Jacksonville at Mayport that one year?
Yeah.
But didn't we have to cancel the game because of like the moisture on the court? People were slipping and sliding because of the humidity and cold weather.
Right, the weather was bad. Yeah.
Charlie says, Shane, if you were making $1 million a year with NIL, would you have gone to class? Hell no. Would you go to class? Now, here's the thing, though. I'm sure Billy, as structured as he is, and he talks about because look, here's the deal. Everybody that suits up for the Gators and every other damn team in America thinks they're going to play in the National Football League as a professional, but it's less than 1% of them are going to make it. So Billy is all about life after football. I'm pretty sure that they have people checking there, making sure they're going to class.
I think so.
I'm about 100% sure of that.
There's got to be some modicum of discipline, right? You've got to have some structure. Class gives you all that. We all know what college is. So, yeah, I agree.
All right, let me get to some of these texts before we get to our picks. This is from Josh in Mississippi. Says 16, 18 of our seniors being honored Saturday. A bunch of them have eligibility like Naquan Wright or Trent. Is this a nice way of saying they won't be here next year? Should go find opportunities elsewhere, but thanks for your contributions to the team. They have so guys that are not as like seniors on the roster. Trent's graduated. I believe Naquan Wright has already graduated. Trent is going to grad school. Trent and Naquan, word is that they will be transferring elsewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that, people. It drives me crazy when people see quality individuals like these two guys who are really good football players. They think because they're leaving the program, there's something wrong. No. Everybody wants to play. These guys have graduated from the University of Florida, and they may want to go play somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that. Let them go. And wish them well. And they will do fine.
How's Hendon Hooker done since he left Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is, I don't know who this is from, says, woke up to the news that we flipped QB Jaden Rashada. We can be all excited until a better NIL deal comes his way. Could be. Matt from Marianne on the Titan More text line. QB, what's your opinion on the flip of quarterback Jaden Rashada last night? Do you think he's a good prospect? I don't really know. Highly recruited kid, very athletic, supposedly a good thrower, complete balls. That's all I want. Somebody that can complete consistent balls. Daryl, Shane, do you think we'll have success running the football against South Carolina? We should. We should, Daryl. And then the last one, Josh from Mississippi again. He likes to listen to the program, JC, by the way.
Yeah, I see that.
He says, how about that? We got Jake. Blue Chip Billy's back at it again. Go Gators. All right. Appreciate the text. One day I'm going to sit here and read all these comments I get off the YouTube feed, JC. They bash me. Most of them are just killing me and you. They're pretty funny.
They kill us. They do.
But they would hurt your feelings. Jay, you get your feelings hurt a lot.
Oh,
so
really?
Maybe I don't need to read them to you.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's YouTube.
Okay, Greg's going to correct his earlier statement. He says he stands corrected. Life Wallet, it organized all your medical records in one place. That's what Life Wallet. That's what the Ruiz guy does. That's actually a pretty good deal.
I mean, smart guy.
I mean, don't you wish there was something where you would have to keep up with all that crap?
I wish there was something. I wish I could invent an app. That's yes, the answer.
The best thing is invent an app where you can put all your stupid passwords for whatever.
They have those.
And
they have those.
They do?
Oh yeah.
Send it to me because
I know.
I want to throw my computer a lot of times when I log into something. They want a password. I'm like, I have no idea.
Well, cybersecurity, QB, got to keep up.
Well, I usually use the same one, and they tell me I can't use that one.
No, you can't do that.
Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Darring, we be a realtor with Caldwell Banker, M.M. Parish. Will provide you a fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. All right, we got JC now. We're going to do our Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. We'll have Alyssa Lang after the break.
Alyssa Lang.
All right, so what do you got here, JC? You sit at 64 and 59. I'm at 56 and 67.
No, QB, I'm 58 and 50, and you're 50 and 58. Where are you getting 64 and 59?
No. JC, before last week. No. Before last week, you were 57 and 51. I was 49 and 59. We both went 7 and 8 last week. It's documented right here.
We both went 7 and 7. We talked about this on Monday.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. Regardless of it, my bookkeeping is better than yours.
No, we're 50.
Okay, if we went 7 and 7, that means you were 64.
No.
JC,
we went through this on Monday or Wednesday.
JC, I have it written down right here. Going into last week. Okay, your writing is horrible. We've gone through this. Going into last week, you were 57 and 51. Okay. You say we went 7 and 7, both of us. I was 49 and 59. Okay. Go back and watch the tape. Okay.
Let's not do that. We'll do this later. All right. So I'm ahead of you. We'll leave it at that. All right. So you want to start with the Big 12, which I think is a very compelling conference, and the races are they're tight, man. Anybody can win that conference, even with an undefeated team, which is TCU getting 7. Getting 7 at Texas.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm taking the Longhorns.
Why is that?
This is exactly why I told you Georgia was going to destroy and why the line was set like it was. Texas is the better team, believe it or not.
Yeah, one difference, though. Georgia and Texas do not play the same type of defense. Georgia's better defense. All right.
I told you, them folks out west don't give away free money. First.
All right. Well, I'm taking.
All right. So you're taking the Horned Frogs
points. Yep. Oklahoma laying 7.5 at West Virginia. I got Oklahoma 7.5. West Virginia is packing it in.
Well, I'm going to take the points at home.
Okay. All right. Kansas State +3 at Baylor. Baylor is hot right now. I like Baylor.
I'll take the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, Dave Aranda, man. That guy doesn't get enough attention. Here's a good game out in the Pac-12. Washington getting 12.5 at Oregon. You know, everybody's hottest team in America, the Oregon Ducks, I guess, laying 12.5. Washington, though, sneaky. They're 7-2. They've won 3 straight games in the conference. I'm going to take the points in the 12.5, and I bet you're going to take Oregon. Go ahead.
I'm taking the Ducks. They're clearly better than they're clearly the best team out there, and I think they hammer the Huskies.
Carolina +4 at Wake. The over/under, by the way, is 77. Lots of defense in this one. I'm taking Carolina. Drake May.
Well, this makes no sense either because Wake's not ranked. North Carolina's like number 11 or 12 getting points. I'm only taking North Carolina because of the quarterback. Well, I love both of these quarterbacks, but Drake May is having the best year of any quarterback in America.
He's hot right now. They just can't stop anybody. How about this one?
Well, neither. I mean, they're not out of the picture, in my opinion.
No. Listen, they're winning the Coastal right now. It's them and Clemson in the ACC championship game. Wow. FSU -7 at Syracuse. I'm taking FSU.
I'm going to take Syracuse.
Okay. They're stumbling.
Who you got?
I got Florida State. I believe it. Here's a good game. ACC 1 versus 2. The 8-1, 17th ranked Tulane Green Wave against the 7-2, 22nd ranked Central Florida Gus Malzahn Knights. Wow, 1-2 in the AAC. 8-1 versus 7-2. The line is 1.5. Tulane is laying 1.5, and I'm taking the Green Wave at home.
Yeah, I like Tulane. The line doesn't make sense, though. It seems like it should be more.
Okay.
It should be more, but I'll take Willie Fritz's crew.
All right, here we go in the SEC. Missouri +20 at Tennessee. What's that all about? 20 points? Wow.
I mean, Missouri's not bad on defense.
Yeah, they lost to Kentucky last week. Tough game.
It seems like it should be more than that. I'm going to take Missouri.
All right, I'm going to take Tennessee. I see a 42-17 kind of game.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know why it's only 20.
Yeah, we've got Vanderbilt getting 17.5 at Kentucky. The Wildcats have not scored over 27 points in any SEC game. They don't score in the conference for some reason. But Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt, getting 17.5. I'm going to still take Kentucky. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to score. That's why. 27 to 6. That's what I got.
I'll take. I mean, just to be different, I'm going to take Vanderbilt. How many am I getting?
17.5.
Okay.
All right. Here's a great game here on the Plains. A&M +1.5 at Auburn. A&M +1.5. Good God.
I'll take the Auburn Tigers.
I know. You absolutely hate A&M, and I'm going to take them because I really don't know why.
You're taking who?
A&M +1.5. Garbage team. All right, here we go. We go back to the West. LSU laying 3.5 at Arkansas. What is that? What do you think? That why is it? Shouldn't it be 6, 7?
Should be a lot more. That's why I'm taking the Hogs.
I'm taking the Hogs.
I think Arkansas is going to win the game.
Wow. So that puts Mississippi back in the driver's seat if they can beat Alabama. And if they don't beat Alabama, that gives Alabama a breath of fresh, just a slight chance, and hope that A&M at home can beat LSU.
But JC, like you said, why is it only 3.5?
Why? I don't know if they still believe LSU on the road is good enough to win in the conference. I mean
Arkansas lost to Liberty last week.
Liberty's no joke, dude. I wouldn't want to play Liberty. Would you rather see Liberty come in here or South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Yeah. Alabama.
So are you taking LSU?
I'm taking Arkansas.
You never tell us who you're taking. You ever figure this game out?
I thought I said Arkansas. I said I'm taking Arkansas.
Oh, you're taking Arkansas?
Yeah, absolutely. 3.5 at home. Home dog. Alabama, -11.5. Explain this one to me. Alabama's allowed 180 yards rushing in their last 3 games. Mississippi loves to run the ball. A lot of folks are on Mississippi right now. The whole world's on Mississippi.
Okay. It's a lot of I'll take Alabama.
Okay. I'm going to take Mississippi. I know I'm banned to go against Alabama, but they hurt my feelings this year. All right, and then
but you got to look. You got to look at who Ole Miss has played. Nobody worth a damn. Not one team. I
just like the fact that Ole Miss has had a week off, and Kiffin is pretty good. But listen, Alabama blew them out last year. Just flat blew them out. So would it surprise anybody if Alabama blew them out? Probably not, but that's a lot. I mean, if they won 31-21, I'd cover. If they won 42-32, I'd still cover. So I'm going to take Mississippi. Georgia, here's another one. Mississippi State getting 16.5. I know you're going to take Georgia, but in Starkville, let me ask you this, QB. How many games has Georgia played on the road that you would consider difficult? They're kind of like Ohio State. They don't play anybody on the road.
Probably none, but I don't think it matters because when they get off the bus and they roll into Davis Wade, it's a different animal. And I think they're going to try to dink and dunk and all that, and it ain't going to because they never take any shots. No. And Georgia's going to punch them in the mouth. And we're going to see Leach throwing chairs, talking about dinosaurs, fat girlfriends. He's going to be using all kinds of crap in his presser. I think Georgia hammers them. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
now Georgia could be flat after Tennessee, but so you want Mississippi State?
Well, I'm looking at the number. 16.5. So I'm going to take that. I mean, I'm not going to be delusional and think Mississippi State's going to do a field rush, although maybe they would, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, listen, this is college football. Georgia laying 16.5. That's. I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way.
It could be 14-0 with 2 drives into the game.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Could be. And then, that's it. We got I'm going to give you a triple option special real quick. Triple option special. Everybody loves this. They've been waiting eagerly for this. I'm going to take the over in Iowa, Wisconsin at 35.5. Both teams have won 2 straight, and Wisconsin has scored 34 points in 4 of their last 5 games. So I'm going to take over 35.5 in Iowa, Wisconsin. I'm going to take the Louisville Cardinals, believe it or not, with Satterfield, +7 at Clemson. I'm going to take Louisville. They've won 4 straight, +7 at Clemson, who is reeling. And I don't know how this is, but Purdue is getting 6.5 at Illinois. Purdue has been bad. They lost last week to Iowa 24-3 at home, but they're getting 6.5 against an Illinois team that I don't think should be given 6.5. So give me Purdue +6.5. Give me the over in the Iowa game, 35.5, and Louisville +7. That's your triple option special on a Friday before Senior Day here in Gainesville, Florida. And speaking of that game, Florida 30, South Carolina 24. That's my score. At the Swamp, South Carolina covers the 8.5, but the Gators get the win 30-24. Carolina will score a late touchdown.
How has the triple option special been doing this year?
Well, we've had a little bit of a rough run of it, but I've taken a lot more attention to it this week and actually dug in and not read what other people are doing and did my own, because the triple option special has been kind of a copy of some of the other folks I read. I'm going to do it myself this weekend and do my own homework.
Oh, so you've been stealing picks.
Yeah,
that helped.
But I'm picking my own this time. I just, everybody's going to say, well, the Iowa-Wisconsin team, neither team has any offense. Yeah, Iowa scored 24 points last week at Purdue and won 24-3. And Wisconsin under Jim Leonhard has been a lot better. 2 5-4 teams, over 35.5.
What about our NFL picks?
Good. You always get me on the NFL game.
You're slacking in your preparation.
How long is your Alyssa Lang interview?
All right, so I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to go while you're looking up some plays. Here's some text on the Titanamore text line.
Okay, I got the games. Okay, go ahead.
This is Lee in Lake City. Says Shane asked Corndog if he thinks the California high school QB commitment was due in large part to all the backlash from fans, boosters towards UAs, and their lackadaisical approach to NIL, along with Scott Strickland's cheesy slogan. Win. That's not Scott Strickland's cheesy slogan. Jeremy Foley started that back in the day. Win with integrity. I say give me 1984 Charlie Pell and a slush fund in order to catch up to Bama and ugly. Oh, that's David in Valdosta.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can have the biggest slush fund you want. It's going to be hard to catch Bama and Georgia for a while. All right. Chris from Cottondale, watched the A&M game last night. 11 personnel, first 3 quarters, 12 personnel the fourth. We were able to be successful and balance on O. Do you think A&M scheme helped us out? A lot of 4-2 front. If South Carolina tries this Saturday, we should be able to pound. We're going to pound them regardless. They're not very good. A&M was terrible too, Chris. I'm just being honest with you. But we did run some 12 in the first 3 quarters, not as much as in the past. Last one here, JC, and I hope you have your picks.
I do.
This is from Matt, taking him our text line. Reassure Corn Dog that the Crimson Turd ain't going to lose to Ole Miss.
I didn't say they were going to lose. I didn't say that they were going to lose. I just think that's too many points. I think Mississippi will score. Again, Alabama has allowed 180 yards rushing in the last 3 games. What does Ole Miss do well? They run the football. That's just the way I look at it. I mean, I hope Alabama wins by 50. But, last year they blew them out. But this is a different situation. But this team has got some issues, and I think
Ole Miss has got more issues than you're giving them.
Well, I mean, they're 8-1, 7-1. They're not bad.
Okay, would you please pull their schedule up?
Oh, I know, but they still play in the SEC West.
No.
Yeah, they do.
No, I got to pull it up because our listeners probably want to see who they've played. And when I tell you they've played the easiest schedule, the worst schedule in the SEC, they've played the worst schedule in the SEC. I'm gonna pull them up right now. What time is that game? 3:30. Let's find it on the board here. Ole Miss, Mighty Rebels, okay? They beat Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Auburn, LSU, and A&M. That's who they played.
They did not beat LSU, but yeah.
No. I didn't mean they beat. That's who they played. Let me read that one more time, JC. You tell me how come. Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa. They barely beat Tulsa at home, by the way. Kentucky was a miracle win at home.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt scored 28 points on them.
Yeah.
Auburn scored 34 on them.
Yeah.
LSU scored 45 on them. A&M scored 28 on them.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying.
I
love my Rebels, but they ain't very good.
No, well, by the time that game kicks off, we'll know if LSU has clinched the West or not. And if they have, Alabama's playing essentially for nothing. Now, I think they still realize that. Do you realize that Alabama has not lost 2 games in the regular season since 2010? I mean, if you can conceive that, and now they are at 2 losses, they're not going to the championship, they're not going to play in the postseason. And by the start of the game, LSU will have already won the West if they beat Arkansas. Now, maybe they don't. But Alabama has not.
I don't think it's going to matter what the outcome of that game.
Probably would.
Alabama, I think, rolls. All right, let's do our picks. I got to get to Alyssa Lang.
Seattle plus 2.5 against Tampa in Germany. I'm sorry, Seattle's playing great football. I've got the Seahawks big.
I see the Tampa's a bad football team. By the way,
Smith is 25-1 for MVP in the NFL. It'd be good odds for you. Cleveland plus 3.5 at Miami. I've got the Browns at Miami plus 3.5. Give me Browns. They've had 3 extra days to get ready for this game. Browns.
That goes to show the NFL makes no sense.
Yeah.
That should be like a 10-point game in Miami.
Well, Cleveland's come off a big win at home.
I'm going to take Cleveland too because the line makes no sense.
Okay, Minnesota plus 3.5 with your beloved Bills. Your beloved Bills, not sure about Allen, but they've got Case Keenum playing for them. Case Keenum knows all about the Vikings. The line's gone from 7 to 3.5. Buffalo's at home. Buffalo's going to play pissed off. Minnesota's only got 1 loss. I like Buffalo.
Well, I thought you would take Minnesota. I'm taking Buffalo too.
Well, you will always take Buffalo, but they may not have Allen. If they do have Allen, I think they'll be limited. So 3.5. I mean, shoot, I'll take the Bills laying 3.5 against anybody. I don't care who's playing for them, Case Keenum or Josh Allen.
Case Keenum will play well. All right, JC, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday. We're going to take our first time out. We come back. We'll be joined by Alyssa Lang from the SEC Network. You're watching and listening to Pod Up Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okito America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate, with premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, International Diamond Center, Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Wawa, the Gadget Guys, and the HBC's restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now selling Head Beer, Coach American Lager, and Draft in 16-ounce cans. Available at Spurrier's, Visors, Gator Games, and select stores around Gainesville. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan Number Hotline, and we have a special guest, Alyssa Lang from the SEC Network. She's a South Carolina grad. Good morning. How are you?
You didn't have to introduce me like that this week. I don't want people to hate me off the jump, Shane, but I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
No, they're not going to hate you. And obviously, you do great work for the SEC Network. You have your own show called Out of Pocket. Tell us real quick before we jump into the game and stuff, how that show came about.
So it's interesting because during COVID, so many of us got sidelined from doing games and traveling across the SEC. And for me, with my studio hosting being first and foremost, I was one of those who was no longer traveling to games. And throughout that summer, I did a lot of radio. I filled in on a lot of ESPN radio shows. And one of my producers who listens to a lot of ESPN radio and obviously is involved with the SEC Network figured, you know what, why don't we do a show that's almost like a radio broadcast in that we're not up against tight timeline deadlines. We can show a little bit more personality, things like that. And so that idea was sort of how the show was born, from one of my producers listening to sort of some of the tangents that we would weave into sports talk on the radio. And now in our third season, having added Andrea Carter to the show as well has been really cool. But we really pride ourselves in trying to mix talking about the SEC with a flair of us being fans as well, and really trying to approach it from a fan perspective, from an interview standpoint, as far as talking games, but also trying to get to know our student athletes and our coaches across the SEC, and kind of having fun in the middle of the week on a Wednesday when you're still looking back on the weekend, but also still sort of trying to look forward to what's to come. So we try to have fun with it, and it's a good time on Wednesday nights.
So you're going to be in Gainesville this week. You're going to be on the sideline reporter for the Florida-South Carolina game. Let me ask you this, because you do a lot of studio work for the SEC Network. Do you prefer being on the side or being in the studio?
Tough question, and I get it a lot. And I don't want to cop out and not answer it, but honestly, they're both so different, and I enjoy both for different reasons. I will say each one helps me do the other job better. So when I'm on the sidelines, boots on the ground at our respective schools, when I then come back on Monday and I'm doing studio work throughout the week, I feel like it helps me have better perspective on what is happening at each of those programs, having been able to talk to coaches, coordinators, players for each of those schools, then to turn those conversations and those questions in the studio to be more specific to exactly what those programs want to be talking about, want to be addressing that week, and vice versa. To getting to spend time with so many of our analysts who watch so much tape throughout the week and don't go to where we're going on the weekends, being able to take some of the things that they wonder about during the week and we talk about in the studio on those shows, then to Friday meetings and Saturday games to be able to dig up some more of those stories and see what's going on in person. I will say they both help. I love them both equally. Without sideline, I wouldn't and experience the food and fans that I get to. So I want to do both for as long as I can.
Hello?
Oh,
what happened here?
Did you lose me? You have me?
I can't see you anymore. And Jason, can you hear us? Okay, well, maybe we're still working.
Oh,
all right, so
okay.
I lost you there for a second. Bad weather. We're taping Alyssa, by the way. bad weather in the Gainesville area with the hurricane and good stuff. Let me ask you this: South Carolina comes in this game 6-3. The Gators are 5-4. Pretty good year so far for South Carolina, but if you look at it, they really haven't beat anybody, in my opinion. But just talk, you're pretty close to the program. Shane Beamer's done wonders for this program. Just talk a little bit about where you think this program is heading.
I think this is a pivotal game for both of these squads. I know everyone in Gainesville remembers what happened in this one a season ago. We actually called that game as well in Columbia, South Carolina, and honestly, we were shocked by the result. And no secret to anyone listening to this, what happened in the coming weeks after losing to South Carolina. But, you know, when you talk about the SEC East and the future of both of these programs under young head coaches, this game means a ton, and you nailed it with Shane Beamer and what he's been able to do. Obviously, this is a South Carolina team that has dealt with a lot throughout the season, especially from an injury standpoint on the defensive side of the football. They have a couple of true freshmen who have been getting some serious game reps and even starting opportunities on that defense because of some of those veteran guys who have gone down and have been unable to play. Same with some of their offensive weapons as we've moved through the season. You know, Marshawn Lloyd was not available against Vanderbilt, didn't make the trip, was pretty banged up. He had been banged up going into this Missouri game as well. You said they haven't really beaten anybody, and I would agree with that. Obviously, the Texas A&M win is huge for Gamecock fans who are hoping to get over that Texas A&M, but I do think special teams, in a good way, if you're a Gamecock fan, has covered up a lot of the deficiencies of this football team. They have one of the best special teams units in the country. It's been a huge point of emphasis for them this season, and that has really been a phase of the game that has changed momentum for them and at times has won football games for South Carolina. So as much as there's still work to be done on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, that third phase of the game has really helped them cover up some of those weak spots on the way to becoming bowl eligible last weekend.
Let's talk about Spencer Rattler, the big transfer to go to South Carolina. All the hype coming out of high school, played really well in year one in Oklahoma. How would you assess how he's played? What does Shane Beamer think about the play of Spencer Rattler?
You know, this will be my third South Carolina game of the season. So I had the South Carolina State game, and then we had the Missouri game a couple weeks ago. And they're very, very confident in the abilities of Spencer Rattler, despite maybe what the national conversation has been surrounding him based off of what he has done so far this season. And I think Spencer would be the first to tell you that he would like some of those categories to look a little bit better from a quarterback perspective. He would like to be able to be that game changer for this team every single week. And from the outside and watching some of these games, that hasn't always been a factor. What I can say is, you know, talking to his teammates, talking to the assistant coaches, they talk about what a great practice player Spencer Rattler is. And I know people out there are going to be going, okay, well, practice, sure, but does that translate to game day? I think they're still waiting for him to see that confidence and that ability to go out there and rip it that they tell us that he has in practice on game day. And I think we saw a little bit of that last weekend against Vanderbilt. Now, the play calling certainly helped take some of the weight off of his shoulders with utilizing DeCarrion Joyner in there in the pass game as well. They finally get Jaheim Bell involved in the offense, which it felt like it hadn't been the case for weeks. So that kind of helps take some of that pressure, obviously, off of Spencer and feeling like he has to put it on his shoulders and do it all himself. But they've been pleased with the work he's put in. They've been pleased with the way he's approached things from the moment that he got on campus there in Columbia. He was one of those guys that, you know, you talk to some of the veteran leaders and, you know, second day of practice, he's trying to break everybody down. And initially, some of the senior guys are like, whoa, who's this new guy coming in trying to break down practice? But then Spencer addressed the team as far as, you know, you're going to get my all, you're going to get everything, and I'm going to back it up in every single way. And they've seen that from him every single week. I think there's still, like I said, an element of hoping that he can take that next step to be that elite quarterback that so many thought he could be when we were having the Heisman discussions. But it seems like it's a confidence building thing. And a little bit at a time has been what we've seen over the last few weeks. And if South Carolina can finish the season strong, I think you continue to see a more confident Spencer Rattler as these games finish up.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's been some talk here in Gainesville that the Cotton Bowl, when the Gators played Oklahoma, he was the quarterback and he was mocking the Gators with the Gator chomp and all this kind of stuff. And so they get other opportunity to play against him. I don't know if any of that means anything or not. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes with Alyssa Lang. Speaking of Doring, what's it like working with Doring?
It's the best. I actually, as you were reading that, a text from him came through on my phone. So he's the best. Outside of my fiance, he's my second. And he loves to remind me about the fact that I've chosen to marry a Florida alum. He reminds me of that every single day. He's the best. We toe the line a little bit, I think, on our radio show, and we both joked about how we are surprised we haven't been separated and or warned for termination at this point because of some of the tangents that will go on. But not only from a friendship and hanging out perspective, CD is one of the best football analysts I've ever had the pleasure of working with. The way he sees the game, the way he breaks it down, still from that player standpoint, but also is not afraid to obviously put the media hat on and be a little bit critical. I have so much fun working with him. And honestly, I wish I could do more shows with the great Chris Doring.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. There's no question about that. Speaking of that, you mentioned you are engaged to a Gator. And a lot of our listeners may have seen it, but I got to ask you about your, I don't know if it was at halftime or the post-game interview you did with Mike Leach, who was giving you advice about getting married. Can you touch on that for us?
Yeah. So, a lot of people didn't see that we actually did do a normal post-game interview talking about the game that had just been played because the wedding question was the only one that, made it onto the internet. But I had known coming in that weddings were something that were very touchy with Coach Leach. So we were kind of joking around about, maybe if it, if the situation allows, we'll ask him. We went into that game. It was Texas A&M at Mississippi State, thinking that it was going to be a close game and that there was no way we were actually going to be in a position to ask Coach Leach about weddings. Ends up being a bit of a blowout. We actually got booted off the network early for the next game to be able to start. So my producer, as well as Matt Stinchcomb up in the booth, was like, just ask him. It's fine. He'll love it. So I ended up asking him for the wedding advice. And he obviously went down the path of telling me to elope and just don't tell anybody and wait till football season is over. Little did he know that between myself and my fiance, I'm the one who was closer to wanting to elope. He wants the big wedding. So he didn't need to tell me. I actually need him to call Trevor and convince Trevor to be the one to elope. So it was a cool moment with Coach Leach. I didn't really have any expectations going in, but the way that he was genuinely interested in asking the follow-up questions and having a conversation about it, I think struck a chord with a lot of people because you don't often see a coach that involved and interested in what you're saying after a win. But Leach is obviously a very, very special guy. So it ended up being a cool moment.
So, I mean, when does someone like you and your fiance who are in the business of covering sports get married? Because, there's a rule. You don't get married in the South during football season, but you cover every sport. So when are y'all going to do it?
That's a very good question. We got engaged at the beginning of the summer, and I really wanted to take the whole summer to just celebrate and relax. We did not dive right into anything. I'm just not, I am not a person who gets excited about planning a 100-person party. As exciting as it is, it's also very stressful. So we've pretty much narrowed down that May is the only month we could probably get away with it, May or June, because May, I may be able to sneak away from some college baseball coverage before the College World Series starts then in June. He, of course, has to clear the NFL draft, all that. The fall is completely out of the picture. So it actually might make it easier on us because we probably have about 2 weeks if we don't want to get married in the middle of July that we can hit to somehow, some way figure this out.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Alyssa, we appreciate you taking the time to join our program. I know you're extremely busy. Safe travels to Gainesville, and we will see you Saturday evening.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, that's Alyssa Lang. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline. Take our final time out, wrap up this Friday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Oger State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogerinsurance.com, 352-240-1779. Really want to thank JC and Alyssa Lang for taking time to join our program. She's awesome. Somebody asked, who is she marrying? She is marrying Trevor Sycamore, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. He's a UF grad, journalism school grad, covers the NFL now, I believe. So we wish them a lot of luck. Andy asked Shane, anyone from the 92 team you're looking forward to seeing this week? Andy, I don't know how many people are going to be here, quite honestly, with the hurricane and stuff. I don't know. They got word out kind of late about it. So I really don't know who's going to be here. But always good to see any players. I know a lot of the guys from the 97 team too, but I don't know how many players are going to be from either team. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Give Comfort Temp a call at 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports in 1997, the NHL's new Columbus franchise announced that the team's name would be the Blue Jackets after soldiers in the Union Army during the American Civil War. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Gator basketball tonight. I forgot who we're playing, quite honestly. But give you something to do if you're in town. Go watch the Gators in game 2. I think they're having a really good year. I think the Gators win big, obviously, against South Carolina. I'm not impressed with South Carolina at all. Hopefully the Gators continue their momentum from the A&M game and go from there. So it's senior day. You'll see a lot of festivities before the game with guys in their last game in the swamp. And as I said, it's pretty sad when that happens. They're playing Kennesaw State is what Greg tells me. I appreciate that. I should know that, right? I think that's going to do it for today's program. Have a great weekend, folks. Again, salute all our veterans out there. As I said earlier in the program, they need more than one day a year, in my opinion. So maybe we should start that movement. Have a great weekend, and we'll recap all the college football, NFL, everything in sports. I know a lot of Gators are happy today with the flipping of Jaden Rashada. Hopefully he turns out to be a good player for us. Have a great weekend, folks. See you on Monday.